What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bev Boys, your one-stop shop for all your energy drink reviews and performance talks. I am Brian,
I'm Christian.
and of course, we are the Bev Boys. Today, we don't really know what we got in store for you, but it's going to be a fun one. We got some good drinks. Christian's got some time. He was able to get a new drink, so we said goodbye to the sparkling ices with some caffeine, and we brought out a banger. So, Christian, show everybody what you got.
That's right. So for about a week, DSL season wrapping up. Got a week off, which is super nice. And back in the States briefly, today I got a Monster Ultra, and this is the Ultra Fantasy Ruby Red. I have not tried this flavor. I don't believe I've tried about every other Monster Ultra flavor. This is one of the newer ones. I think it came out around the same time as like that Miami Vice flavor and like those few flavors came out. So super excited to try this. The can, I'm kind of digging the colors. It's like the pink, and then it's got this little just little slot of blue here on the side. It's got little like monsters on the can, and then the other side it's got like these are like some bunnies or something like that. It's like a cartoon themed, but as you know, 0 sugar, 6 grams of carbs, 2 of those coming from erythritol, and then 4 of those coming from mystery carbs. And then we got 150 milligrams of caffeine per can. So pretty typical classic Monster. As always, I feel like I gotta read the
The
little
little
spiel on the
excerpt.
back. I know, because it's the thing I like about these is because it's different for every flavor.
Yeah.
They don't just mail it in. Okay, so we're always dreaming up new things at Monster, and sometimes we totally break convention. Enter Ultra Fantasy Ruby Red. It may not be the best tasting Ultra yet, it may be the best tasting Ultra yet. Not too sweet, not too tart. It's got a fresh citrus taste that'll blow your mind. While it's light and super easy drinking, it's serious on performance. Ultra Fantasy is packed with all the legendary Monster blend you've come to expect. We call the longtime friend Pinky Taylor for design. Okay, that explains why the can is so
Pink.
yeah. Pinky Taylor, shout out. OG fans might remember seeing him doing live paintings at Monster events as they rolled through town. We've got his painted surfboards and canvases hanging all over HQ. Now you got your own Pinky masterpiece too. Unleash the Ultra Beast. That was like deceptively difficult to read because it was like a black background and pink, or maybe I'm just getting slowly more retarded. But yeah, shout out Pinky Taylor for the can design there. Probably a little bit of both.
Hell yeah, dude. Pinky looks like if
Who is this guy? I've never even heard of him.
Hey, I looked him up. Let me share my screen here. He looks like if Mr. Beast wanted to be in X Games mode.
Mm.
Let's see here, Pinky Taylor.
Pull that shit up, Jamie. Wow, that is a striking resemblance to Mr. Beast. If you like,
when X Games mode, I mean, yeah. I kind of hit that one spot on.
I love how half the pictures are of that monster can.
I know.
Like, we don't actually care about this guy.
This guy's cool and everything, but have you seen his monster can?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a sick can. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got.
Pretty hyped. You wanna pop that top?
Let's do it. Here we go. Oof.
Crisp
as always. Yep, I'm definitely getting that grapefruit flavor that you mentioned before we started.
It's a lot like the original White Monster. It's just a little bit different, like a pink grapefruit with like maybe like a hint of like strawberry or something.
Yeah, it's like it's similar but
different.
Distinct. Yeah, it's like distinct. Like you can tell it's not the same thing.
We're same but different.
Exactly.
Do you know that quote?
No. What is it from?
It's James Franco in The Interview. Remember when
I've seen that movie?
Him and Will Ferrell, like not Will Ferrell, Seth Rogen, like Seth Rogen's like his producer, and they go over to North Korea.
I know of the movie. I don't think I've seen it though.
Yeah, and he's like, he gets off the plane. He's like, we're same but different, different but same.
Yeah, this is smooth too. Yeah, it's got a little bit of like that like strawberry or like miscellaneous pink fruit flavor. Maybe almost like a Almost like a little dragon fruit hint. I don't know.
Ooh, ooh. I mean, that's a sophisticated palate.
That's right. I'm getting earthy taste. I'm just kidding.
Is this a California 2017?
Are you one of those people that like when you drink? I know you're a coffee connoisseur. When people say like, "Oh, I'm getting hints of like orange and earth or something like that," and you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You're not one of those people, are you?
I love coffee, but here's the thing. I love coffee because I just love the taste of coffee. A good coffee is a good coffee. But
Hmm.
I'm also the same person though that can go to Circle K and go get the grinded cup of coffee that's just or like go to a 7-Eleven and pour one out of a pot. Because
Yep.
it's still just coffee. You
Exactly.
got you got to be able to walk in both worlds. And the people who are like, "Oh, I'm not drinking that." It's like, why not? I
Yeah,
think
you're just
that
a
that's
snob.
yeah, you're just a snob for the sake of being a snob. I will say I am so hyped on the drink I got today.
I might too.
I'm
Oh
gonna
my god.
be I'm gonna be very disappointed if it's not good, but I have a feeling it is. So I want to set a background with this. We've done drinks from this brand before. It's been historically one of our ones. The first drink that we did with this brand, we were not expecting anything, and we were very pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
I'm thinking first form is my first
Is
one
your
that comes to mind.
It is first form. It's the first form grape
Ooh,
smash. So this is the new can that they've come out with. Um, which is really cool. So all the cans now are like the color of the flavor, and then this white, like sandpaper texture can.
like a
So,
rain.
very similar to like how Monster does it,
Okay.
but like everything that's white on the can on the front has like the first form P, the white down here. It's like a sandpaper, like almost like 120 grit kind of like texture. It's super sick. I think the can looks phenomenal with the rebrand. Like this is sharp. I love the
Hmm.
white, especially with the purple. First Form Energy on the back. You know, made in the USA. I think they're a St. Louis brand or right around St. Louis.
Yep.
Black tab. I mean, this thing is sick. But they haven't changed any of the ingredients when it comes to these. So they kept their really good formula. So you have 1 gram of tyrosine, 100 milligrams of neurofactor, whole coffee, and then 200 milligrams from caffeine from green tea. So it is a slow release kind of extended release caffeine on there, which is really sick. Um, and they have the neurofactor in there, so you get a little focus. This is their grape flavor, man. Like anyone knows, I'm a big grape fan. So I'm just gonna I gotta let me just.
Hmm.
It's a strong grape smell, like right when you open it. Do you ever have bottle caps? Remember that candy?
Yeah, I did.
It
You'd
smells
get
like
it. You'd get it. Where would they have those?
it would always be at
Probably.
like the shitty gas stations or like
Yes.
if you go like by us, like you could go to like a diner and they'd be like selling it or like a bar with like a little candy counter at the bar. They
Yep.
would be selling like bottle caps. It smells like the grape bottle cap and that has me big hyped. But let me see here. That's good. That's
Compare it
good.
to. I'm trying to think what flavors I've had, what brands of grape energy drink I've had. I think I've had the Monster, really
Mhm.
good.
Love the Monster Grape,
We got the Welch's grape from Ghost.
which is phenomenal. It's a
Yep,
different if it's a different grape than that. I will say
it
that.
is different. It is different.
The Bum Energy Grape, which I have currently in my fridge, which
I
is
have
really
not
good.
had that one. Gorilla Mine does a grape, or do they?
I think they do. I
I don't think I've
haven't
had it.
I haven't had it, but I
I've
need to
had the
try it.
berry flavor. I've had like
The
just the berry, but
the
that one
berry
was
is
really
good.
good.
The blue raspberry was pretty good too. I think the berry is better than the blue raspberry. I'm gonna see if Gorilla Mind does a grape. I'm almost 90% sure that they do.
I think they do.
Yes, they do. They have a grape flavor energy drink. No, that's the berry burst. They don't have grape.
Okay, maybe they don't.
Oh, they just released a grape flavor. Yes, Gorilla Mind has a grape flavor.
Okay.
So, but not everybody does grape, and I honestly I kind of hate that they don't. You know what would be really good? Everyone does like a purpley, like red grape flavor. A white grape would be really good.
Oof. That reminds me of I don't know how you guys like celebrated Christmas Eve growing up, but like at
Like
my
the sparkling grape juice.
yes, you already know. You already know. Yep. The white grape sparkling grape juice was how you celebrated New Year's Eve. Um,
That's a Midwest household.
that is a Midwest household.
That's growing up like, hey, you can't drink, but we're gonna let you feel like you're gonna drink.
Yeah, exactly. You pour like a fancy glass too. You had it.
You had your little champagne flute. You're walking around like, oh, I'm drinking too.
Yeah, and I'm up late like an adult.
Dude,
You're
that
like
stuff used to
12.
bang. We used to, and then like the next day, my parents would have like mimosas or Bloody Marys, and then like we would just pour another thing of sparkling grape juice. We're like, this is so good.
Yeah. No, those were fire.
God, what a good time. What was the best like? Did you guys do like New Year's Eve dinners at all?
My dad, like when I was with my dad for New Year's Eve, we would have this tradition where we would go to completely random, but like other people also did it, like a hibachi Japanese place where they cook the food in front of you. I don't know why that would be like the thing, but that's where we would end up going. And then if I was with my mom, we would usually just like we might go out or she would make something like lasagna, like her lasagna bangs, and then
That
we would
sounds good.
have yep. I just remember like that was when uh we like have cats at my mom's house and we don't really give them wet food very often, but that was like
They
my
got
mom
wet
would like
food.
yeah, like my mom would like treat them for like New Year's too, as like we were all feeling bougie. uh yep, and
We
then
used,
wait up till midnight.
yeah, we would always pick like a different restaurant. This is so my dad is like Mr. I'm not making a fucking reservation. We're walking in and I'm gonna be upset if we have to wait. That is
Yep,
my
you
father in like a
walk in
nutshell.
and then you get mad at the
Yeah.
person that's
What do you got? What are we waiting for? Sir, it's New Year's Eve. What? Oh my god, you're kidding me. So like we would do that. We would pick like restaurants when I was like younger in high school and just go to like a restaurant there. And then when I went to college, we started going a little bit bigger. So like one year they came up by me, and then we did like this really good Italian restaurant in St. Paul, and then we kind of like bar hopped and everything for actual rest of New Year's. We did one year. I took them out to like Surly, which is like a gigantic brewery that the beer's good. Yeah, it's great. The food at Surly is phenomenal. Um, and then one year we did like New Year's in New Orleans. That was
ooh,
sick. We ate at this like it was a Creole and Korean food place. It was phenomenal.
interesting combo.
I know, but I had some of the best
That sounds good.
beef bulgogi I've ever had in my life.
Oh, bulgogi smacks.
It's so good. Um, and we did one other one for one year. I think we might have went to like Florida or something. I remember we ate at like one of them. We did like a seafood place, but either way, we started like going a little bit bigger when we like could actually drink. But before then, it would just be like going to a local restaurant. My dad hoping for the best. Like,
Yeah, I found that usually if you have to make a reservation, that's like too bougie of a restaurant for me. Like I just like if I have to make a reservation, like I shouldn't be there in the first place. I hate making reservations.
I hate waiting. I'm a big proponent of sitting at the bar if I'm gonna go eat. If they
Because
look at
it's
me in there,
always open
it's always open,
and
and
you
you
can
get the
still get
best
food.
service because they're staring at you the whole time.
Yep, they
I
can't forget about you.
My drink is never empty. The food comes out right away. They always see when you're ready to order. Now, this doesn't mean go pull up my spot, people, but I'm a big bar sitter, and that's like the first thing I do. And I don't care if it's a breakfast, like a diner. I'm sitting at the counter. I'm not going to a table. I'd rather sit at the counter because my coffee's never going empty. And a diner coffee,
Mhm.
you want to talk about being a coffee snob? A diner coffee is like one of the best coffees you can get. I don't care what anyone says. Shitty burnt diner coffee is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My dad's a big whenever we go out to eat, he's a high table type of guy.
That's my kind of dude. I
And
respect
then
that.
yep, and like they'll try to take us to a booth and they'll like just cut that off right away and be like, "Nope, high table." Like he
I hate
tells the
sitting in a
wait
booth
he tells the waitress where
where
we're
he's
gonna sit,
sitting.
not the other way around.
Dude, there'd be some where we would go to a restaurant. My dad would like they start taking us towards like a table towards the back, and he would just be like, He would just he would get in front of them and be like, "I'm not sitting back there. You're not sticking me over in some corner." And it'd be like a 17-year-old kid who was trying to like sit us, and they'd just be like, "Okay."
And they're just getting your dad's wrath.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm not sitting in this corner."
Yeah.
That was growing up with like a quote unquote like alpha father. Is like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I
At the
put
local restaurant.
yeah, just big dick in some fucking 17-year-old kid.
Uh,
Then you hit him with like $3 in cash and be like, "Thanks, I appreciate that."
yeah. My dad was also ruthless on like if we were waiting too long, especially
Dude,
like
you do this with the
yeah,
stopwatch.
yeah, I do it to this day. It's like I don't know if I mean it's probably a bad habit. I don't see it that way, but that's honestly like every time when if you go out to eat with me and you hear like a little few beeps, yep, I will start once I place my order. I'm starting because hey, sometimes when you have subpar service, you're like, God, we've been waiting forever, and you're like, how long have we been waiting for? And I know the exact time, and it's like I feel like that should be part of like, do you give? And obviously, it's not the
This,
waiter's fault,
yeah,
but it's just like like if you're waiting 30 plus minutes and there's hardly anybody there, what are they doing back there? Or
yeah.
like for example, when we what was that place we went to in
Burlington Beer
Burlington?
we
We
went to
waited
beer.
like what? You waited like 30 minutes for a beer?
Yeah, I
And
waited
we
30
waited
minutes.
like an hour for food?
They served Jake. They brought Jake's food out before I got my beer.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then they were like, "Well, here's an appetizer." And we housed it because we were starving.
Yeah, it was like artichoke dip or something.
Yeah. They were like,
Still salty.
you can have
Still
this, you
salty they didn't
animals."
comp. Yeah, I'm still salty they didn't comp the meal though. Okay.
What's even worse is they were like, I remember I ordered like it was like a house kind of burger. It came with like a bacon like jam on it and like sliced bacon, cheese. It came out as a fucking hamburger with nothing on it, and I was like, "What the fuck is?" We put the artichoke dip like on our food because there was nothing on there.
Yeah. Not a great experience there.
No, bad vibe.
Bad vibes.
I have gone back and it has been better.
Yeah. I mean, that chicken sandwich I had was really good. They just had to wait. They just had to go out and kill the chicken.
Yeah, bleed it in the back.
Exactly.
Ugh. But yeah, that one threw me for a loop. I was like, "What is this guy doing?" I saw you just twiddling around with your watch. I heard beep beep.
I'm like, yeah, every time.
He set his hands down. He said, "Timer started."
Yep.
Which honestly, it did help because we used that as a reference of like, "Hey, it's been like 35 minutes. I still haven't gotten my beer."
Yeah. It comes in handy. It comes in handy, if I'm being honest.
We gotta level you up so you just wear like a stopwatch.
Yeah. And when they're walking by and it's been like too long, I just look at the watch and then look at the waitress or the waiter.
You look them dead in the eyes and you hit the lap timer.
Yeah. 17 minutes to ask for a refill. It's pretty shit.
You know how long I've been waiting on this Mountain Dew?
1636. That's 20% above average because I have a spreadsheet.
You know who's been absolutely terrible with service the past like 10 years?
Who? How are they still in business?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, beat-ups. Honestly, beat-ups has gone downhill pretty fucking quickly.
They all want you to order off the app, and then the food just never comes. You sit there, and then it comes out cold. I'm like, what is it doing back there? Do you guys have 3 people working? The manager has to change clothes to cook and then change clothes again to run the food?
Yeah, that used to be the spot when I was in high school. And this is like tell me you live in a small town without telling me you live in a small town. This would be like an event. We would like it'd be
Everyone would
like
go to Buffalo Wild Wings together. Like that's the
we would
thing.
yeah, like we would like carpool because it was like 45 minutes to an it was like 45 minutes to an hour to the closest beat ups, and we would
Holy
go there.
shit.
Yeah, like we'd have to go to Waterloo or Cedar Falls, Friday, Saturday night, and we'd go there, watch whatever games were on. And I remember there was a Complete Nutrition, I believe it was, right next to it, so that we'd go to beat ups, and then like people would go buy supplements at the Complete Nutrition. Um, but yeah, we would go there, and we had this really weird, like, I guess you could call it a tradition on the way home. And this is so like fitting for
Small
like
town.
yeah, we would like because this would usually be in the summer, and we would blast the heat as high as it would go, and then like drive home like that. And if you like
Started
open the
sweating.
window, yeah, like if you open the window, like you were a bitch, like like it was like a mental toughness thing that it didn't do anything, but that was just what we did. We're like, all right, turn the heat up, and it's so fucking hot. Um, the steering wheel would be like hot.
Oh
I
my
don't know why
god.
we did that. Really, really weird thing that we did, but yeah, beat ups would be that was the spot, and I've noticed like they've taken way longer for the food. The
It's like
food
it's a
was
dead vibe in there too. Like
yeah, no one goes there anymore.
it used to be like you would go in there and you would see everyone who wanted to watch a game. I remember like I have a distinct memory. It was the day that Eddie Lacy got drafted by the Packers. I was pissed. But because I did not want us to have a fat running back. But we went to beat ups. It was me and like five of my friends in high school, and we all sat there. Just it was like they had like it was like a 20-cent wing or whatever the deal
Yep, the
is.
BOGO or whatever.
Yeah. So we were just munching on wings. Sitting there at that point, just killing Diet Cokes and Mountain Dews and waters and watching the draft on the giant projector that they had. Now you walk in and there's like, and it used to be like there was tables crowded everywhere. So it felt like when you went into that little pit for the tables, it was always packed. Now I don't know if it's because like 2021 or 2020, but like you go in the middle, there's like five tables and there's like one family sitting at one of the tables. The food's like more expensive. The waitress doesn't want to interact with you. It's like desolate. It's like walking into like a Sears.
Yeah, it's not cool anymore. I do remember one day where I ate. Um, I went to beat ups twice in one day and ate. I housed a large boneless wing twice, so I ate like 60 wings in one day. I don't know. I think that happened. Like I went there with someone,
God, I pray for your plumbing.
and then like it just happened that my friends were like, "Oh, let's go to beat ups tonight," and I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, run it back." Um,
Oh my God.
yeah, housed it, no problem. Two
I
large boneless wings.
What were the sauces?
Honey barbecue is in there. I'm usually like I split it up like three ways. I get something like sweet and then something spicy, like Asian zing's good. Maybe I'll mess with the mango habanero once
Habanero,
in a while.
the jam and
Caribbean.
jalapeno.
Oh yeah, the jam and jalapeno is really good. The Caribbean jerk is good.
I like the dry rubs.
The dry rubs are good on. I don't like them as much on the boneless wings, but on like
They're
the
good on
regular
the
wings,
dude.
traditional like the Chipotle one
I like
is really good.
the desert heat. Now
Yep.
I've seen you fuck up a traditional wing, man.
Yeah, you don't want to see me eat
You
wings unless you
you
do.
you are munching the knuckles.
I'm like, God, you get enough knuckle on that one? Yeah, that
Dude,
was we watched the Super Bowl. I
yeah,
housed like 25 wings that day too.
yeah, that was at East Coast Wings. It was me, you, Matt, and Gabe.
Yep, I
Shout out
was
to Matt and Gabe. They remember that. I think I still have the video of you just, ripping
munching that knuckle.
ripping the cartilage like off the like drumstick, and I was like, dude, no one's gonna take that away from you.
Yeah, hey, get your money's worth. Get your money's
that's
worth.
that's like my one thing with like a traditional wings. Like I'm not eating like the tendon. I'm eating the meat. As soon as I feel that like rubbery texture, I'm like, that wing's done.
Yeah, wings are probably one of my favorite foods, to be honest. Boneless or traditional.
Oh, 100%. Especially when you get like a crispy like skin on like a traditional. That's
Hmm.
banger.
usually from like a just like a local bar, random spot that just happens to have banger wings.
Did you guys have paddle wings where you grew up?
Nah, maybe if we call them something different. What are those?
It was a non-sauced wing, but if you bit into it, it had like sauce underneath the skin, like a little bit of like hot
Oh,
sauce.
did not have that. They
That
like
was like
inject it.
they like so it's like before they like bread it and everything, they dip it in like some hot sauce and whatever, and there's like a hot sauce in the
Mm,
batter, which like that was like a thing. I remember eating those like a ton when I was younger, and I was like, these are kind of fun. They're not messy, but you still get like the sauce, and the sauce is like all on the meat. Those did bang. Our
yeah,
local golf course had them, and I was like, that is sick.
yeah. I'm a big wing guy.
Wings, tacos, sushi. Not as I'm not a big pizza guy. I like pizza, but I'm
I
like
like pizza.
I could do pizza like once a month.
See, I like a good pizza. I like a good pizza. Burgers, obviously. I had
I
a
mean,
really
that's just
honestly,
un-American to not like a
yeah,
burger.
yeah. I had a banging burger this past week in the DR. It was called the Big Poppy Burger. Oof.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, really good. I've had some really good burgers down there. The pizza is what's lacking down there, in my opinion. That's why, like, when I come back, I gotta have pizza like at least once. Have like some good pizza.
Now that you're back, are you gonna go out to Zombie Burger? Shout out Des Moines staple.
Zombie burgers is zombie burger, and if you've ever had Fong's Pizza, it's
Yeah.
like you can get like Chinese food on a pizza. Des Moines got some good food. Jethro's Barbecue. Ever heard of it?
Yes.
Adam Eminecker challenge.
I didn't
Um,
do the challenge, but man, does
yeah,
that barbecue hit.
yeah. I'm a big fan of Jethro's.
What's like if you're gonna go to like a like a place that like you go to like a zombie burger or something where you go in and it's like all the different kinds. Like what's the weird burger that you're gonna get?
Oof.
What's a guy like you looking at the menu and going, that I think that one's the one.
I'm usually like if I go there, you got to get something like different
Yeah. You
because
can't go bacon cheeseburger. I wanna punch you in
yeah,
the I wanna punch you.
yeah. Like there was this one called like the Fat Elvis, and that had like
That's where I was going with the peanut butter on it and the
peanut
jalapenos.
butter. Yep, that one's good. There's one that's literally should be called like the diabetes burger, but it's like the buns are two like
Donuts.
no, they're two patties of like fried mac and cheese, and that's the buns.
Oh my god.
But there's probably one with donuts too.
There was one in Scottsdale. I went out there for some work, and me and my buddy were there with my parents, and we both kind of like clocked this burger, and we were like, we kind of you kind of have that look when you're there with your buddy, and you're like, are you gonna do it? Because if you do it, I'll do it. And no one said a word, and we both ordered it. It was the buns were a Krispy Kreme donut. It was a double bacon cheeseburger, double bacon, double burger, double cheese, and then I think there was like some peanut butter on it and something else. This burger came out this big, dude. I thought we both like got like halfway through, and then it was like bite for bite, like again the same look of like I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna make you look bad. If you're gonna look like such a bitch if you don't finish. We got done and neither of us could walk because we were just like competitively eating against the table from each other.
that reminds me of a place. I don't even know if this place is still open. It's called the Irish Shanty, and it's way up in northeast Iowa. It's in. I don't even know if you could call it a town. It's the town supposedly is called Gunder, and it's the Irish Shanty in Gunder, Iowa. I don't know if it still exists, but they're famous for the Gunder burger, which is like a 1 pound burger, and like I would go there. Like this is like way up like in the sticks, like northeast Iowa, um, getting close to like the Wisconsin Minnesota border.
Near Elgin.
Yep, it's close to Elgin, and Yeah, that would be like the thing when I was a kid. It's like, oh, I'm gonna finish this 1 pound burger. I remember we would there was one track meet where we would actually like go there after because we were so close. But yeah, just a little hole in the wall. Town's got like 50 people in it, maybe. Probably doesn't even have a post office. Um, but
That
it's got
burger
a
looks
bar.
nuts.
Yeah, just a huge burger.
Oh my god. The Gunderberg dude, this is nuts. The people need to see this. This is nuts.
And have like different like variations too. Like,
Oh my god.
yes, sir.
This is nuts.
Yes, sir. Home of the Gunder Burger. Yeah, it's
Oh
like this
my
Irish bar. Yeah, the bun would be like the burger's like 3 times the size of the bun. It's ridiculous.
Dude, look at this guy. He's happier than
Yeah.
he's
See,
happier than a pig in shit.
those are the places where like you just can't you
You
can't
can't
replicate
replicate
that.
that.
No.
Oh. Oh my god.
Yeah, just this little shack.
For the viewers that or for the listeners that aren't like watching, you should definitely watch, but the burger looks like the size of a wheel.
Yeah.
It's insane. Ugh. Dude. Do you mind if we pause for like 2 minutes? I'm gonna pause the recording.
Yeah, good. Oh,
And we're back. I had to run to the bathroom, ladies and gentlemen, but
after a short intermission. At least short for you guys on the recording.
it'll be very short
Um,
for you.
Yeah. Is this a good transition to talk about something that's actually gonna like help people, or should we just
Yeah.
fucking bang this shit and keep talking about 1 pound cheeseburgers and how the downfall of your favorite wing restaurant? I think this is a good like
I think it's a good good transition.
it's a good turning point. Um, Something that I had written down for last week that honestly we had plenty of time because I rambled so much. I didn't have to use it, but it's something that it's not something it's been talked about plenty, but I think it's something we could touch on, and that's it kind of builds off those internship tips that we gave the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the 4 P's when it comes to looking for a job. So if you're not familiar, this is kind of a framework. I want to say the first person I heard it from was Kier. I don't know who the actual like originator was. A lot of people talk about it though, and I think it's good to if you want to get into the field and you're sure this is something you want to do, you do the internships, you do really well, and now you're in a position to look for a full part-time or full-time job. This is kind of like a simple heuristic that ideally this is where you want to get to. And so the four
Yeah.
P's basically are pay, purpose, career progression, and then personal life. Now, I will say like this is like ideal. Like ideally you want to get the best of all of these or as many as you can. But at certain points in your career, you're going to probably prioritize some over others, and not every job is. I would say it's a rare job if you're going to really check the box on all of these. But I think it's kind of a good heuristic to look for when you're looking for a job or looking to leave a job or looking to do something different. And this could really be extended to different fields as well. I think this is like a pretty universal thing to talk about. So the pay is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, like people want to get paid now. Early in your career, you can't expect to just walk into a $70,000-$80,000 job in the strength and conditioning industry. That's just not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think people can get there for sure, especially like people talk a lot of shit on how bad the jobs pay, but I do think it's slowly improving, and the people that are willing to fight for that are going to be kind of spearheading continuing that battle. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of more just like how people value S&C and performance. So pay is obviously a big one. And, if you want this to be a sustainable career, you got to be able to, if you're going to have a family, you got to have something that pays decent. Purpose, obviously, we want to feel like the job is something that we have. It's more than just clock in, clock out, do your job to get paid, especially if you're going to be working long hours, like we said in that last episode. Career progression, that's going to be different for everybody because obviously some people have different goals. They want to be directors or they want to be with one certain sport. Ideally, your job is the next job you take is a progression from the last one. You're not just leaving just to get a new change of scenery or for other reasons. And then personal life, which I think is another one that I think people are probably starting to do a little bit better job at. Obviously, the hours are going to be long whenever you work in athletics in general, but at some point you're probably going to want a little bit more time, especially if you're trying to start a family. And obviously that looks different for everyone. Some people are just married to the game and don't give a shit about the personal life, which is cool too. But I don't know. I do think you can get kind of messed up though and think that you're going to get all of these right off the bat, and that's probably not true. And you're going to be disappointed if you think you're going to get that early in your career.
Yeah. I think like early in the career, you're probably going to get 2 out of those 4.
Yeah, that's good. 2 out of 4, I feel like, is really good if you're starting out.
I
You
think
might
so
only get
too.
one.
Yeah. And I think the biggest one that, right, you have like personal fulfillment, personal life, pay, progression. Like those are like your 4, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think the 2 that you're probably not going to have one that really does a ton for progression and personal life, especially starting out.
Those are kind of opposites almost.
Yeah, so I feel like you should prioritize the progression. You can get into a job right away that your personal life is so good but like you're never going to get out of there. And I feel like if that's the goal, like you should keep that in mind when looking for those jobs. Is do people leave to get higher placement? Do they move up the chain, etc.? Um, the personal fulfillment will honestly probably come in every one of those jobs just from the fact of it's your first job in the industry. So you probably are like, oh my God, you're so in love. You're all that fulfillment anyway, regardless of how much it actually does give you. And then pay. Unfortunately, I think like personal life is like the last on the tier. Your first like 2 to 3 years on that list. Pay would probably your first job. Your pay's not going to be great, no matter what.
But at least you're getting paid.
But
So
at
it'll
least you,
seem like you're getting paid a lot relative to
yeah,
what you were doing before.
exactly. So like I would say like if I were to tier it, I would say your progression, your your pay, your personal fulfillment, and then your personal life. I put personal fulfillment down on like number 3 because that's probably gonna happen no matter what that first job because you're too excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Your progression is your most important thing, and as long as you're not getting paid the same amount that like if you were a GA and you're leaving, if it's more than what you were going to make as a GA, that's the way. Like you shouldn't take something that's equatable to what you're currently at. And that's like the only like caveat that pushes the pay up in there, but your progression is like your utmost important thing. Can you move on from this spot eventually and get a better job? Can you move up at that organization? That's like the things that you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about that job. And I think like when people are going into an internship too, like a lot of times they go, I want to go work with, like we had somebody this year who wanted to work with us. About 3 weeks before, he called me and said, well, I'm going to go to a different school because I'm going to work with football. I was like, that's what you do here during the summer. Like it's a summer internship. It's a football internship. We send you over to the Shar, like work with basketballs like once a week, but it's like if you want to work with football, we're going to keep you with football. This was a Power 4 school. I'm like, you're not going to coach, man, like at all. You're going to set up a weight room and then you're going to get out of their way. Like that, and then the school isn't historically known. I'm not going to name the school just from that. Don't want to like dog anybody, but they're not known for getting an intern a job afterwards. And I was like, well, you kind of you fucked yourself because now you bailed on us 3 weeks before. I'm not going to vouch for you anywhere. And now you're going to a place that isn't built on progression for those interns. You may have just with being ignorant, and you have to give the kid like the benefit of the doubt, but he's just ignorant. But being ignorant, you may have just fucked yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a tough pill to swallow versus like we had someone this past year come from a Power 4 school where you know, we had mutual circles where someone else took a job there and took him under his wing for the first year there. And he said basically he's been kind of failed by everybody around him. I brought him in to help me because I really liked him. And he was at another school where they did a lot of internship and took interns and kind of built them up. And he's like, I want to send him there because he's not quite ready. I didn't have enough time with him. I want to send him to you guys, let you do your thing. And then I think, he'll have his logo. He'll have the help from me, but he'll have the help from you guys over at Elon. I think he'll be ready. And lo and behold, left us, went and got a job. You got to think about the progression. And the other thing that, it's almost like your first two, at least your first job, your almost first 2 to 3, you should be thinking about the experience that you get, let alone not just like the personal fulfillment. I would almost say like either you swap personal fulfillment with experience or you swap personal life for experience because you can get pretty good pay. You can have maybe some progression, but the progression comes with experience, right? And if you get put into the next spot and you don't know what you're doing, you're not prepared for it, it's really tough because now you're trying to go in there and figure out how to do something that you've never had to do before. You don't have that safety net. And that makes it really tough on that individual to continue to strive and get the job after that if they want to keep moving on. Am I prepared for that job? Can I get that job? Because that job has those 4 Ps. That's where I want to be. Am I qualified? Well, you haven't had the experience, so it's like, unfortunately, someone might not look at that.
Yeah, I think early on you really have to prioritize the progression, like you said, knowing that that's what's going to get you to more money later on is like being a more highly skilled coach and more like experienced coach. And that just comes with time and repetition. And I
Mm-hmm.
think another big thing for me personally, like if I'm looking for a job, it's the people that are going to be over me, the people that I'm going to be working with and the people I'm going to be working for. One, like, are they like good people in general? Because it's tough. I think you can be like a really good coach and kind of like not have that, but I think generally from my experience, they usually go hand in hand. Like better person, better coach. And it's just easier to try to want to learn from someone who's going to like treat you right too. And then are they people that are you're going to be able to learn from and are going to be able to continue to develop you? Because this is one thing that I've been like thinking about. Once if you want to be like a director someday, you're kind of in like the script kind of gets flipped. Like I wonder, like I don't think I'd want to. I would definitely wouldn't want to be a director right now because it's like then it's on you to teach everyone else. And like, yeah, you're still learning because you're having to learn more of like that leadership role, but you can't go to like your superior. I mean, your superior is probably the AD at that point.
Yeah.
Like you got to build up to that point and take advantage of those years while you're under someone to learn as much as you can. Um, and I think, like you said, the personal fulfillment will kind of come from just like wanting to be in the field. But I also think you don't necessarily, if it's a job where you're getting like good experience, I think that that's going to contribute to more personal fulfillment down the line. You don't necessarily need to be like, it's okay to eat shit for a few years if you know it's like something like, okay, like I
It's
know
a
this is what I want
temporary
to
moment
do.
of
Right.
distress.
Exactly. It's like, like I don't love this, but like I'm learning a shit ton. I think this is really going to set me up well 5, 10 years down the line. That's worth it to
Yeah,
me at least.
I think so too. I look at like my first job, and not to be on this again, but like my first like paid gig in SNC, I was an assistant. I got paid very well. I made $20 an hour, which was phenomenal. And then I got bumped to like 32 when I became a director at like 22 years old.
Yeah, really good.
And yeah, but like I wasn't prepared for it, but I was like, okay, like there's a lot to learn from it. And it was a lot of eating shit because I was in conversations I wasn't ready to be in and having to have those. So I had to like, it was a sink or swim moment of figure this out because it's on you, to where like when I kind of took a step back and when I got to Elon, I didn't have to be part of that conversation, but I knew what it meant to be someone underneath it to make it easier for someone who was in those conversations. And now it's like, well, I'm more valuable like when you take a step back because I know what you're going to have to talk about. If I have all my ducks in a row, it's a very easy conversation for you as a director. And that's like some of those things where it's like you kind of step up because I went from essentially a high school slash kind of private training, like academy kind of like training, to a Division 1 school, or sorry, to a Division 2 school, and then a Division 1 school. Like I stepped up every time and kind of went up and down the chain of how it works in an organization. But having had that experience, I'm like, okay, what would have I had to talk about? You can kind of rely on that experience of like when I was in that position. Okay, cool. Well, this and this and this are three things that they're probably, as their boss, is probably going to want to talk to them about. Let's make sure that they don't have to get into an uncomfortable spot where they don't know if you're going to handle that or whatever it might be. Or how do I keep stuff off their plate? Because I know when I was there, I can empathize of when stuff like that hit my plate, it was a day ruiner. And then it allows more progression because they're like, oh, well, this guy's well more equipped than what we brought him on for. Well, he can handle this, he can handle this, and then you get more stuff to your plate, so on and so forth. That's all stuff to think about and have that experience again, kind of going back to the experience of you become more valuable. And then the same thing with like having good people around you. The easiest thing for me, like when as an internship coordinator and when I was somebody's boss, was like when someone had genuine questions to learn versus like I have to force feed somebody information to make them competent. That's like a big thing. And I know we talked about that on the last episode of like having like that genuine curiosity and like humble, like having being humble enough to know you don't know. And if you had someone who was doing that and coming with directed questions of like, this is something I want to do, like why would that not be the right move? Or what do you have you done that before? What went wrong? What went right? Because now you're trying to frame that of like, if I can prevent the problem, I'm going to try and prevent the problem. Or like, hey, I was reading this book, I was thinking about this, like, have you read that? Like, what are your thoughts on implementing it in this exact way? And like you kind of frame that and like set the table for them to essentially say yes or no versus them having to give you the information. And once that's been done, number one, you obviously, there is like the aspect of you kind of show that you are a little bit more of a thinker versus just, hey, I want you to help me program. It's more of, all right, I've been thinking about this and this is where I want to go with it. This is how I want to implement it. This is what I want to do. Now they can say, I probably wouldn't because I've tried it this way or because I read this or whatever it might be. You're now more, like I said, more valuable. You're more of a thinker. You're providing the context. All they have to kind of look at you and go is yes or no. They don't have to sift through all your information to generate their own thoughts to see where you may be going. It's a lot less work for them. And then now it's a simple check the box of I can get them their answer. I can move on to what I have to do that's really important. And now your super important stuff is taken care of. My super important stuff is taken care of. And lo and behold, you have a better product going forward, which unfortunately no one wants to admit, but it is a product.
Yeah, I mean we're in the, so you call it like the service, the product or service is,
The results that we speak and how we do them.
exactly. And I think another good point is sometimes, I think of our friend Matt.
Mm-hmm.
His his kind of trajectory was kind of up and down. Like he started out as a personal trainer, doing really well in Southern California, then went down to being an unpaid intern because he wanted to get into the college route, and then he ended up with the Astros. Then he came back to college, took like a pretty significant like pay cut to come to Elon because he knew that was gonna because he knew he was gonna learn a lot. And lo and behold, a couple years later, he's in like a better position than he ever has been. So like that can be a little bit tough because you never know. I mean, obviously like Elon's like a special place where it's like that. But what are your thoughts on especially like later in your career, you're making good money, but you're like, oh, I feel like I need to go work for this person for a little bit less money because I think it's going to set me up later down the road for that real big jump to get where I really want to be. Because that can be intimidating from, people don't like to go backwards, especially when it comes to money. Especially because people grind so hard to make like a good amount of money in the world of performance. It's tough to be able to be like, okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of a backslide because I think it's going to pay off in the long run.
This is a really uncomfortable thought for a lot of people, in my opinion. And as we know, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but you don't always need to hear them. But like, I think people have to bet on themselves. I think a lot of times people get really comfortable with the golden handcuffs of like, I'm not happy here. It's not where I want to be. I'm not going to be able to get out, but I'm getting paid pretty well. And then they sit on that for 5 to 6 years, and now it's like, well, maybe I missed that opportunity. Especially while you're young and you don't have as much responsibility like a kid or like a family to think about. You should be aggressive with betting on yourself. And that's what I did twice. I walked away from really 3 times. I walked away from a that director spot to work at Team Builder and potentially walk away from the industry completely.
Yeah, that's a big
Got,
one.
yeah, got lucky because I had connections that, thankfully lined up with my work schedule. So after hours, I would go coach sprints and hurdles on a track and field team and take kids in the weight room and be like a hybrid coach. And then finally I was like, I turned down Coach DeMarco at Elon to take the job at Team Builder. And then after a year of it, I was like, I think I want to get out. I think I might leave again. Or I was like, maybe I'll just go intern in all my free time because I want to go work at Elon. And at the time, Jordan was still here, and I was like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna move down there." I was married at the time, and I was like, "We're just gonna move. We'll move down by Elon. We'll get a fresh start. We won't have to deal with Minnesota winters." I left, and as I was packing up all my stuff, lo and behold, I get a phone call that offered me a job for part-time work to work around my team builder hours. And I remember this conversation distinctly. Was I was packing up the boxes to get in the moving truck, and basically he said like, "Okay, well, when can you be here?" I was like, I'll see you on Monday." He's like, "Do you need a place to stay?" I said, "No, I already rented a house." He's like, "What do you mean you already rented a house?" I said, "Well, I was going to be your problem. You just decided to pay me for it." I was like, I'm going to live 5 minutes away from the facility. I'll see you on Monday. Because I was just going to show up one day, call Jordan and say like, "I'm living here now. Can I intern?" And lo and behold,
Talk about writing your own destiny there.
yeah, but it's a bet on yourself thing, and obviously this is like the best case scenario that could have happened. Worst case is I would have went down there, they would have said no, and I would have had to figure things out. The middle ground would have been I interned. There could have been a potential opening later down the road, and they could have picked me. But what really happened was it was just like I don't love like I. It's not this. It's not that I didn't love like coaching at my alma mater. It was just like I don't love this situation that I'm in. Like I was losing money on the side because I was driving 2 track meets, like paying for meals for kids, like kind of, and like it wasn't making anything. So I was like, I'm losing money doing this, and I want to do this, but if I'm going to lose money, I want to do it the way I want to do it. And now it's a much better situation because I was just like, if I got to jump, the jump has to happen now. And I think people get really scared in that moment of like, you gotta jump, you gotta just do it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you got to be okay with that. I think it takes a little bit of like aggression in like someone's personality to do that. Whereas, now I tell a lot of people like when they're looking to like leave their jobs or something, I'm like, well, don't step off that boat until you have a foot firmly in the other, because it can't be that bad. Now, I did have like 2 feet firmly in my job, my actual job, and this was like I'm moving to chase a hobby, which thankfully Team Builder very much supported. Um, but lo and behold, it paid off, and it was like I could do that because of the way I set up my life. But if like a lot of people, where it's like you kind of think about going backwards in that, if you are willing to bet on yourself, the worst that could happen is you go there, you don't really like it, and you find another job that probably gets you back up to the same level that you're currently at before you left in a year, and you just feel like, oh, I wasted time. Well, if that's all it is, then you should do it, in my opinion, because a lot of people get too comfortable. It's like when you're in. I just had this conversation with a couple people. Kel was involved in the conversation. We were out having some drinks with some people, and someone says like a breakup isn't easy because you have a lot of comfort in what you're doing, even though you're not the happiest, and maybe you might not marry that person or whatever. You're so comfortable, it's hard to leave. And it's, my counterpoint was, if it's really not gonna work, then just leave. And I was like the weird person in that, for saying that. And I understand their point, but like at a certain point, like if it just isn't what you like, we only have one life, and not to be that like guy, but like if it's not the best thing that you can do for yourself, then why do you have to stay? Like you can just go.
Yeah.
You owe it to no one. And that person's probably feeling the same way. You just would be the actor in the situation. Just say it's
Yeah.
not working and leave.
Yeah. And I think you can extend that to a job too.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you like put your 2 weeks notice in, talk to your boss, be professional. But I I I'm all for the corny "you only live once" shit, because it's so fucking true. And like,
Well, I mean, we're two people of the same kind of like the same grain of salt here. Of like, we're just like, okay, well, let's just do that opportunity.
exactly,
I got to take this because if I don't do it now, I don't know if I'll ever do it. So I should just do it.
exactly. Like, I think about, especially like, I don't even think if you fuck that up and you say like it's not even wasted time as long as you learn from it.
You got an experience. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
it's like a bad relationship. In my opinion, it's like a bad relationship. It's like, well, yeah, I was pretty miserable, but like I'm glad I went through that because now I know, like a little bit more of like this is what you want, and you know
Hmm.
that that's not what you want. So you kind of grew as a person, you matured or whatever. Same thing with like a job. It's like,
And that's
well,
the main thing.
yeah, like I didn't like that job. Well, why didn't you like it? Okay, well, now you know what you to look for in a job when you don't want something. You know those kind of like red flags when you're getting hired, or you start to see them arise like organizationally within the structure or whatever it is, that when you go for your next one, kind of what you're looking for a little bit more, a little bit about yourself. So it's not, you still made money, maybe you made a little bit less or whatever it is, but you're not going to sit there and say like, well, I wasted a year. No, you learned a lot, and like there is something to be said about just learning that stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's also, you put yourself in that like pressure situation of, okay, kind of back against the wall. There's definitely something, absolutely something to that. And
Hmm.
especially if you've been doing the work and building the skills, like you're never going to be like, you might be out of a job that you like absolutely prefer, but like worst case scenario, like if you can't get a job like at a college or something, you can work. I mean, worst case scenario, you can work at a fucking gym and train Gen Pop people, and you can learn something from that until you get an opportunity to get back in the sector that you really want to be in. And that stuff I think is really valuable to, because like you said, you only do this shit once, and it's really easy to have that kind of sunk cost
Mentality.
bias. Yep, you're like, oh, I've been in this so long, like I'm up to this pay. I'm in a really good spot, but I'm not really happy. I really want to try this, but I don't want to kind of start over from the bottom. But and obviously it's different for everyone. If you have a family, you got to take that into consideration. But if you bet on yourself, like you said, and you have those connections and you've stayed in touch with those people, what's the worst that could happen? I think you put your back against the wall, and it's we're lucky that it's common in this industry to like only stay at a job for a year or two. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, to be honest, but
It's just what it is.
it's acceptable. At least it's
Yeah.
acceptable.
But I think some people just have to do that. I think at the very least, like I said, you'll find a little bit about yourself of like you can wear that. You know what I mean? You can wear that you left and you said like, well, it didn't work out, but I at least went for it.
Hmm.
You kind of found out that you're willing to make a change in an uncomfortable situation and do something about it. I think that's at the very least, above all else, at the very least, you have some shit to you. You got some 40 grit sandpaper where you can take that home.
Exactly. Well, I think about people like TK. That guy's had some really like cool and like jobs from the outside where people would be like, wow, like I would never leave that job. And he's done that like 10 different times, and like he's not been afraid to like, okay, I
Let's
worked
pick
with the
up. Let's go
Astros. Yeah, let's go do something completely different. Let's go to
to the
this random
UFC.
school. Exactly, UFC. Let's go to college basketball. Let's go to college football. And now he's like in a job where this is like
He
high
loves
level
it.
college football. Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
but if he never made the leap from one stop to the next, who knows if he'd be where he's at right now?
exactly.
And that's a tough thing to say. It's like, well, you got there. It's like, yeah, but it's what he learned at UFC and then at an FCS level and so on and so forth. You can't say that he would have just gotten there and made a one-to-one jump without those smaller ones of figuring things out and navigating that kind of field. Obviously, it's like it was not an easy thing for him to do, and I think he'll tell you that too. But for the fact of the matter is like he did learn a lot navigating relationships at the very least. His family life is like super strong for that. Like they stuck everything out and was just like, this is where we're gonna go, this is what we're gonna do. And I think it was a good thing. And lo and behold, now he's at a school that is successful and he's in a great position to be successful himself in the organization. So I think that is, it's something that should be thought about.
Yeah. Do you ever feel that way with Team Builder? Because I feel like you're in such a unique situation where you're like, obviously you like working for Team Builder, but what was the impetus to even like want to work for a company like that anyway? Because I mean, that Team Builder was not what it was when you first started with them.
No, no, they were much smaller. Like I was like an original. I think I was like employee number 15.
Hmm.
And I think we're either at like 48 or 52 now. Um, it's such a weird thing because I have a little bit of like a broken mind in the sense of like going into the industry. Now, I never thought I would truly be in a situation like this. I did, however, like always like want to do something like this where I was like, I don't want to be just a strength coach and I don't want to be just like I wanted to like I had interest in tech because when I was in college, like that's when tech was starting to kind of take off. And I was like, that looks like super fun to work in it. I don't know what I want to do in a tech company, but and then when I was like looking for more jobs, because at the time, like I was a director, but I wasn't, I was making like 38, 40, and like I didn't have insurance through them because it was technically like hourly and they would cut my hours at like 31.5 and I'd have to work like a different position to make up like additional hours. So I technically worked two different positions at the facility. Um, so I didn't have insurance, I didn't have benefits. So I was like, what can I do instead? And I started looking and I was like, well, I need a way out. I don't know if I want to move and go to an actual office job. I was a team builder customer. And then one of my buddies, Zach, was like, hey man, like Team Builder's actually hiring. And he sent me the posting. And I was like, I did some more research on the company itself. Obviously I used the product. So I knew a little bit about the product kind of in and out, to an extent. As I would probably say like now it's vastly different how much I know about it. But like, I was like, this seems like where I want to be, what I would want to do. And I did like 7 interviews, I think, or no, I did like 4 interviews in 7 days. That's what it was. So it was pretty intensive of an interview process, and got hired. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to move completely away from strength conditioning because I scratched my itch. Like, I had some clients that I was programming for on the side. Like, I was still training like one person, like kind of like in person, and that was my multi Jake that you met.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was like, okay, like I can scratch my itch coaching. I can coach someone that's high level, but I can live a life that this allows me to, where I don't owe it to anybody. I can kind of close the book at 3 p.m. and have a happy life and make a good living. And then it kind of spiraled, like I had mentioned earlier in the podcast, into what has happened now. But when I was like in college, I was like, I had heard that there's not a lot of money in strength conditioning. I was like, well, this comes from kind of being like a little bit of a black sheep in my family, where it's like you don't always fit a mold. And I was like, what would be different? What's different? So I looked at like people in the industry, and there was like some people who would work their strength conditioning job, and like then they would work on the side with like a company as like I think of what's his name, uh works with Dynamic, Joe Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And like Joe Kent would like work with Dynamic and stuff like that, but he was still coaching at the time. And I'm like, well, that looks really fun. He's kind of doing both. He's like a foot in both lives kind of deal. And I was like, that's pretty neat. And I was like, what if I flip that? That's where that kind of led. And it ended up, now it's spiraled into like, I don't want to say it's manifestation, but it ended up being that. And it was always something that I wanted to do, where I was like, well, I want to live a good life, and I want to be able to do both well. I don't care too much about my personal life, but what I like is I like to be able to go out to eat, and I like cars. Like, those are like two of, and now golf, but those hobbies are not cheap,
Nope.
by any means. But I was like, how do I get that? You can't get that unless you work P4 football, and you're
You
probably
ain't
getting
working two
fired.
jobs at that point.
No, and you're probably gonna get fired in 2 years because you guys went from 9-4 to 7-6, and now that's a firing. And I was like, well, that's not sustainable. So I just started kind of carving that path every step of the way of like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. And I got super, super lucky. It took a lot of work, and I don't want to like diminish that. And when people ask me like, do you think I could do it too? I was like, I remember telling one person that asked me, we were at like an event, and he was like, I want to do that. I think I can do that. I was like, I just kind of like looked at him like straight. No, I had a couple pops in me at this time. And I was just like, you ain't cut out for this shit, man.
Yeah.
But sometimes people need to hear that too. It's like, I know what it takes to do it and do it really well. And now my life is much easier, like not having, now that we've grown and we've outfitted like teams around areas, I know what it takes. I have like not a routine, but like I know where I have to like allocate time when, and I work my weekends, on stuff for like Elon to make sure like my programming's done, because I can't necessarily just do that during the weekday. And I just block time that way. I know a lot of people aren't willing to do that, or they're not capable of doing that. And I I've seen it happen where someone tries to do it and it doesn't pan out, and then parties involved end up like someone else has to overtake that responsibility because shit still needs to get done, and you're not holding your end of the bargain, and we'll let you go. So I didn't want another situation like that. And I was like, I'm the only person I know that has been truly able to like handle that. So
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point of like the luck. I think people, I don't know if you call it luck, but like circumstance.
hmm
Like everyone's gonna like put in good effort. That's like kind of a no
yeah,
brainer. But I and I think people don't like to bring up the luck and the circumstance because it like they think it's like a you're diminishing their hard work. That's not how it
yeah,
is. Like
yeah,
I think about like how fucking lucky I've gotten to work. Like I haven't had like a bad boss, and like I've just been so lucky to like know people that have known other good people, and it's worked out like really well. Obviously, like I had to like put in a lot of effort too, but sometimes you just got to sit back and be like, damn, like it could have went a different way too. So
yeah. And there's something to be said too about like luck is preparation meeting opportunity, but like
mm-hmm.
you can only like you can put in a lot of hard work that doesn't go anywhere. That's not like productive work, if that makes sense. And I think like that's where like the luck comes in is like getting super prepared and well rounded. And then when you get that opportunity because of what you've done is really good, now you get really lucky. But like for the fact of the matter is like when I got hired, I wasn't prepared. Like I had a dual degree in exercise science and business management. So I had like and here's luck for you. I'll tell you luck straight out of the gate. I have a photographic memory. You can't like just develop that. I have a
No,
photographic memory. Like I'm lucky in that aspect. So I was able to like quickly retain a lot of information. So a lot of that stuff just stayed in my brain without having to actively like relearn it. That's luck right there. And then I was able to like regurgitate the information and spit it out and understand it. So that helped a ton. But I think when you talk about like luck too, like people also don't like the idea of being super lucky in that front because it's not something they can control. And
mm-hmm.
people get very uncomfortable when you talk about stuff that they can't control because it's like, well then it's just never going to happen for me. Like it might not, man. I'm sorry, but that's also fucking life. Like that's just how
Right.
it is.
Sorry, bud. Yeah, I think the big part is like the effort is non-negotiable, and
Yeah.
whatever like you got to focus on that. The effort's non-negotiable, and I think you made a really good point of like this is you knew kind of what you wanted from life as a whole, and you reverse engineered from there. You basically reverse engineered from a lifestyle perspective, and I think that can be. I've been thinking about that's something that I think about too. I'm like, okay, like yeah, like you can ride out jobs and get into like really good positions, but like no actually making sure that's what you actually want and like thinking about what your life looks like outside of that with that position. I think that's super important and like working like what's a couple things that you really want to be able to do
hmm
and try to reverse engineer from that. Um and that may not that's going to look different than someone who's like I just want to be a director of a big time football team or I want to work in the NBA. That's going
And
to
the
look a lot different than someone that's like, okay, I want to have my own business or I want to have a foot in the tech industry or a foot in the equipment industry, but also be coaching. Those look a lot different because those are two very different things. One's more specialized and one's more you got to know multiple industries.
Yeah, and like everyone wants their cake and eat it too, but like the other thing is with that is like you have to make some secession, and to some people, like I seceded in SNC, where I was like, I won't be a director again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. Um, like I'm perfectly happy. Like if I never leave my current job, I'm high enough in the hierarchy to where like I have like a little bit of a better title. I get to impact like my job at Elon is perfect. Like I get to be a legitimate sprints coach and coach the thing that I love in performance the absolute most. but also be in performance and run the weight room. I get to work with football in the off seasons a lot more, but like I'm not going to be the director. It's just not going to be it. Like I'm never going to be the director of football. I might get to be the number two, but that's just what it is, and I'm okay with that because, as I've gone along, it's like team builder and like working in like the tech space, like I've moved up a ton since I first started. Now I'm the director of customer success. Like eventually I'd love to be like a VP or of some sorts or something like that. And it's like you can't be up, up, up on both. Like it's gonna have to like one of them's gonna have to play than the other. And it's like once you're just okay with that, and again, like kind of you said, like reverse engineering your life, it's like you can like there's nothing wrong with that. Like to some people, I may look like a failure. That's fine. Sounds good, man. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Like, I got great friends. My girlfriend's out there sleeping on the couch right now, taking a nap with my 3 dogs. And in the house that I own, I got a Michael Jordan jersey behind me. I have the GOAT behind me. Like, I'm living a great life. And every day I wake up, I'm like, I get to go to work. I get to do this. I'm lucky. I am luckier than like if I had a horseshoe up my ass.
Yeah. I gotta pause for a second. The fact that you own a house as someone who's under the age of like 50 and not in the Midwest is a fucking anomaly. Like, good luck to I was talking to our head athletic trainer the other day. We were talking about how like expensive houses are, and it's like, yeah, it's literally cheaper to rent an apartment for the rest of your life than to buy a house at this point. It's like, so that by itself is amazing.
Yeah, and that came from eating a lot of shit too. Like I paid my way through school with obviously my athletic scholarship. And then whatever that didn't cover, I worked. My dad had a business, so I can't act like I'm not a little bit of I don't want to say a nepo baby, but like he made me work for him. And I was you want to talk about bottom tier. I was the lowest paid guy on his staff and I was taking the most shit from him every day. But I worked all my summers, all my breaks, and whatever I didn't take, I stashed away into a savings account. I invested some money during, COVID because I had money laying around. So when the market was going good, I invested money because I knew how to work with finances. I worked 3 jobs in college. I worked at one point, I would always work a retail job. I worked on campus and I was a server. So I served at an old folks home. I had a job on campus in academic advising where I worked the front desk and I got to, which know your people, know your organization. I got to schedule my classes first. So I would schedule my classes around practice and work. And then I worked at obviously Northern Lights during my master's and still worked at GNC at the time. So I'd work my weekends there in a sales role. So I was selling and I would make like 200, $300 a weekend because I'd have like commission and stuff. Don't ever let them tell you that they don't make commission because I made great commission. Before that, I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods. Before that, I worked at Adidas. Like I collected a lot of money during that time. And I always like, I still went out to dinner and went out, drinking with the friends and stuff like that. But like until like my last year in Minneapolis, when housing went crazy and I was paying like $3,000 a month. I remember before that, I was living with my buddy. We had an $800 apartment that we split. Before that, I lived in, I think $1,000 apartment with an ex-girlfriend that I was splitting that she ended up moving out and paying half the rent. I lived in a 5-bedroom, like essentially a trap house with like teammates that I think we had at one point 7 people living there. So we were paying 350, 400 to live there. Just finding ways to live below my means and still make it work. Like, and then got the job at Team Builder, kept working and everything, and just continuously saved and saved and saved and invested to where, like, when I moved down here, obviously housing before I moved down here would have been great. Like, if I would have paid like this price for my house in like 2021, 2022, my house would be double the size. But it just worked out. And I got lucky with buying the house too. I had a great realtor, and they wanted above like 400,000, and they kept dropping and kept dropping and kept dropping. And then when it finally got like 370, we started negotiating even further, and we got it for way cheaper than I needed to because I got lucky.
Yeah. I think one last thing with you bringing up, you're okay with where you are and not being, the director of football and whatnot. I think a lot of people, and like personally, like I can like attest to this too. Like people struggle early on, especially like thinking that they need to be in a certain spot because it's just like the highest in the hierarchy. They think
Mm-hmm.
like you need to get into the industry, and if you're
Climb the
not,
ladder as fast as possible.
yeah, if you're not climbing the ladder, what the fuck are you doing? And I think people struggle knowing if that's what they actually want. They don't probably question it enough early on, and then I think people almost like feel like you can almost feel
Inadequate.
guilty. Yeah, you can feel like guilty. Like I can speak from like personal experience. Like I'm like I kind of have like since I was like 13, I've just wanted to like own my own facility,
Mm-hmm.
and like that looks a lot different from trying to get. Now, not to say that I'm just like I don't care if I progress at all. I need to progress still, but that it can be kind of tough to you can feel guilty for not wanting to be climbing the ladder because that's just so kind of ingrained into it's by necessity because that's how you make a living. That's how you make
Yeah.
a decent amount of money.
Yeah. It's one of those tough things too, because it's like you always want everyone. We're in a society, and like that's just how it is here. Where it's like you always want more. Like I don't want to say like greed, but like there's a little bit of greed in either the monetary value or like the personal fulfillment of like I can be better. But I look at it from like the self improvement standpoint. It's like I can be better at like this job. If you kind of switch the frame, like those next opportunities will come from like I just want to be, you know, I think about it in like Elon and like Team Builder, like both companies, organizations. It was always like I need to make sure that they never doubt why they hired me. If I put you into a position where I provide so much value, and this is where a lot of people can get uncomfortable too, where they feel like they're underpaid. But I'm gonna make you feel like you're underpaying me because of my output. And I'm okay with that because I really like the work that I do, and I find that fulfilling. Like I'm not necessarily always looking at like, well, I just want to be the highest. Well, what does that look like? What do you want to do? Like, there's a really good thing at Team Builder where it's like you kind of do the stuff for the job before, and then you commensurate that with, the promotion or whatever. When I was just a basic employee, like starting out, I was like, well, I want to be super productive, and it has nothing to do with it's more of like an ego thing than it was like I want to grow in the position. I was like, okay, the two people that were ahead of me, they did really good, and I always hear about how well they did and how good they were. I want to be better, and that's just kind of how like it was. Me being a little bit broken in the head of that, of like, I want to be better. Okay, well now how do I be better? Again, reverse engineering it. Okay, they did XYZ, I should do XYZ, and then I should add on top of that. And that always just kept going and going and going. When I got hired at Elon, it was like I got hired at this position. I need to make, essentially I need to make Nick feel like he's underpaying me for what he's getting. I need him to never doubt why he hired me. That's a bad position to be in, is if they start doubting why they hired you. So if I always make him feel like, fuck, like I got a steal on this guy, I'm in a good spot. But then as you start to do that, people be like, well, maybe they can handle more, and they allocate more responsibility. And then you handle that. And then it just grows. But it's like I get the feeling that I get from the success is more valuable to me. Whereas like everything else is like a byproduct. The title, the promotion, the pay, that's a byproduct. I chase like the little bit of like a high of accomplishment. Um, and that's just the way I've always kind of grown up. It's like it's not necessarily I bought this and I got this much money. It was, that's a cool thing. Don't get me wrong. I can't sit there and say it's not. But it's like we broke this record this month. oh, we broke this record this month. Like that's a really good feeling when it's like we put a lot of work in and we saw that come to fruition. Or like the same thing with like track and field, where it's like now, we came back last year and won outdoor. You get a bonus for winning that as a sport coach, but like at the same time, I'm like, it feels really good to just win.
Yeah, have those trophies.
Yeah, and like that means so much to me. Like I know it shouldn't, but it does.
And that's why you're as good as you are, because it does mean so much. Because if it didn't, you probably wouldn't even be in that position to begin with. And if you
Yeah.
were, you wouldn't be doing as good of a job.
Yeah, if you find what like makes you fulfilled and you just chase that dragon as much as possible, like the feeling of accomplishment is for me like that's like crack.
Yeah, that's
That's
better than any paycheck.
that's better than any paycheck, where it's like at the end of the day when I die, I can be like, I was able to do all of this because I put that work in. Man, that's great.
Right. And people are going to remember that more than the
What you
fucking
got
money you
paid.
made.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't even probably know that to begin with. And the thing is, the achievement and the skills is what leads to that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what leads to probably making more money anyway, like just being really good at what you do. So,
That just could be me.
yeah.
Now
I think
let me step off my pedestal.
yeah, that's that turned from a bullshit episode of
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings and nonsense to something actually like halfway decent.
A little Alex Hormozy like motivational, but
Yeah, except for we're not breaded as fuck like that guy.
but in the same frame of reference though, like I mean, don't get me wrong, that guy lives a better life than all of us with the amount of money he makes, but
But
he
to get
chases
there,
the accomplishment, the like he writes his books and everything, and what he, I could be wrong, he could be lying through his teeth, but from at least an outsider perspective, he's looking at it like he finds a lot of accomplishment of helping taking a company and growing it for somebody else, and the money ends up just being what enables him to continue to do that. They have equitable positions in different companies because of acquisition.com, but like he just finds value in that. Like that's great for him. And the money is essentially like a byproduct. The guy walks around and maybe he does it as a shtick, who knows? But he rocks cargo shorts and a wife beater and he doesn't cut his hair. Like he cares about what he's doing with the money being a product versus, him buying a Rolex and always, kind of not to shit on Andy Elliott, but like rocking the suit and the super tight shirt and like telling everybody to just give him money. He's like, we're gonna grow this and like let's sit down for 2 days straight and let's make your content for 2 days. Like let's just keep writing.
exactly.
Guy just loves what he does.
Mm-hmm.
We got way off here, and that's my fault. I just rambled. I just next time on an episode, if I'm like in such a deep like, just tell me to shut the fuck up.
No, it's good. I feel like our episodes are better when I don't talk as much.
No, when I was sick, you had a great fucking episode.
Yeah, but no, that's good. I think we definitely got a little off topic, but we barely had a topic to begin with. So I think that's true Bev Boys fashion, par for the course. Shit. But should we get some ratings on these bad boys? Yeah,
I think so.
For this monster, it's not my favorite. It's not bad by any means. It's a very smooth flavor. Like I gassed this pretty freaking easily, probably just because I hadn't had like a good energy drink in a while. Also, It's probably not. I don't know if I would. I'm not opposed to drinking it again, but if I'm picking a Monster Ultra, I'm probably not. It's probably not one of my first picks. I would give it, all in all, I'm probably going to give it like a 6.9. Not bad, but like pretty average in terms of Monster. It's nothing like the white is obviously classic. The green, the purple are probably my other two favorites. But overall, solid and sick can. Shout out Pinky Taylor.
Pinky Taylor. For the First Form Energy Grape Smash, it's not my favorite grape and it's not my favorite First Form. I still think my favorite first form is that tropical like thunder one, that pineapple kind of one. That maybe it was just because we had like lower expectations. It kind of blew my hair back. I love the new look of the can though. I
It is
love that.
crisp.
It's such a and like the kind of like digital kind of print on it. Like that is so sick back there. I'm gonna go. I mean, ingredients are great. The taste is honestly really solid. I'm gonna go 7.3. It's very consistent. If I'm at a gas station, I'm on a road trip, or I'm just going to work, this would be one that I'm like, I can pick that up and I'm gonna drink that because it's gonna be good. You know, it could be, it's not the best one in the entire world, but it could easily work its way as a staple for me. 7.3.
Yeah, solid, solid.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's gonna do it for another episode of Bev Boys TV. Make sure to check out the website bevboys.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats. I know we're working on bucket hats.
I have
We're
a.
gonna.
I'm getting a mock up on the bucket. I'm getting
Yep,
one. I'm getting one embroidered.
yep. I think we've been in talks about getting some higher quality like embroidered hats. I think that's kind of the goal. Some like trucker hats or something like that, as well as bucket hats. So be on the lookout for that. Follow us on Instagram, bevboys.tv, clips of past, future, present episodes, our personal accounts. I can be found at French_fit40. Those clips, some training here and there, other types of miscellaneous shit. Brian can be found on Instagram at
BSZUTKOWSKI. Again, training in both football, track, and field, distance events as well. Miscellaneous Bad Boys clips, as we love this content. This is our weekly, like, this is our fun stuff.
this
We
is
go
my
to work,
event.
we come here, we get our continuing education in because we read stuff to talk about stuff. We talk about different ideas on here. We hope you guys enjoyed as much as we do because we're not stopping, regardless of if 3 people watch this. I love doing this, and we're going to keep going as much as we can until the wheels fall off this thing.
Goddamn right.
Hell yeah, baby. But we appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.